sense to Kevin Bacon. But when it comes to degrees of separation between artists and actors and icons and movers and shakers, nobody is more entwined with the cultural fabric of the past 30 years than Sean Combs.
We watched the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard trial like it was reality TV. And now the Diddy trial is even darker. Are we too used to this?
And did you strike up a friendship with Mr. Musk after that?
We did. We, as I mentioned, we spoke on the red carpet, kind of on the waiting line of the carpet. He seemed like a real gentleman. He was really nice.
Have you ever wondered where Amber Heard is? After the very controversial lawsuit against her ex-husband Johnny Depp, people never expected to hear Amber's name in another bombshell lawsuit, especially after she decided to stay low-key and away from the spotlight, but now, things have taken a drastic turn. How? This was after Amber got dragged into the pretty messy Diddy trial, and people are wondering if she is a part of this as well. Now, the courtroom is packed, and everyone wants answers. Prosecutors say this isn't just another case of a celebrity falling from grace. This is the tip of an iceberg, built on decades of power, manipulation, and violence behind velvet ropes. The defense wants you to believe it's all just the messy aftermath of a passionate love affair, but witnesses are painting a picture far darker than tabloid drama. In fact, authorities mentioned multiple times how Diddy did not act alone. The question is, who? Who are the other celebrities who allegedly took part in all these freak-offs? And as details mount, Amber is left with no choice but to be dragged in the middle of one of the biggest celebrity scandals of the decade. Let's take a look back. Now, we all know how this started. At the heart of the Diddy trial is Cassie Ventura, the former singer and longtime girlfriend of the music mogul. Her testimony has been described as both harrowing and damning. Cassie didn't just say she was abused, she said she was trapped. For over a decade, she alleges, Diddy coerced her into sex acts, drugged her, and subjected her to terrifying manipulation. His defense team tried to frame their violent relationship as dysfunctional rather than criminal. But the jury saw more than lovers' quarrels. They saw a systematic campaign of control, of fear. And they listened, rapt as Cassie explained how even after being raped by Diddy, she found herself in bed with him again only a month later. Not because she wanted to, but because that's what psychological imprisonment looks like. As prosecutors called psychologist Dr. Dawn Hughes to the stand, the courtroom shifted into deeper territory.
No victim wants to be abused. And if this woman looks familiar to you, that is because this is Dr. Dawn Hughes. She was an expert witness in the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial back a few years ago, and she is also an expert witness in the Diddy trial for the prosecution. She is a blind expert, therefore she hasn't sat down with any of these victims. She hasn't sat down with Diddy. She hasn't given a diagnosis, nothing like that.
Dr. Hughes, a familiar face to those who followed the Depp v. Heard trial, laid bare the mechanics of abuse, how love bombing, power imbalances, and isolation keep victims locked into hellish cycles. She didn't just talk about Cassie. She spoke to a broader truth, one that echoed from the stories of women across industries, across decades. And in the minds of many observers, one name began to echo louder than others in connection with these chilling details: Elon Musk. That's where things start to get unsettling. Elon Musk, tech mogul, owner of X, and the man behind Tesla and SpaceX, has a known history with both Amber Heard and Sean Diddy Combs. In a 2024 expose titled Character Limit: How Elon Musk Destroyed Twitter, journalists revealed that Elon called Diddy a good friend and confirmed Diddy had invested in Twitter after Elon's acquisition. During a high-level meeting, Elon boasted of their close friendship, saying the two often exchanged texts. Publicly, Elon would later criticize Diddy on X, reposting an article on the mogul's growing list of accusers and asking, how many people in music and entertainment knew about this?
Amazing how many people in the Diddy party list that are supporting Kamala, too.
Yeah, it was like his ex-girlfriend. and it's like now deciding she's like warning people against Trump. I'm like, well, wait a second. So how many people did she warn against Diddy?
Right.
But critics were quick to point out the hypocrisy. If Elon Musk was so close with Diddy, why hadn't he raised concerns earlier? Why hadn't he asked more questions before taking Combs' money? That's where Amber Heard comes in. Amber and Elon's relationship has long been a subject of media fascination, but in light of the Diddy trial, it's starting to take on a new tone, one that is less romantic, tabloid fluff, and more the ominous hum of a storm warning. Heard and Musk's relationship was intense, public, and according to several sources, deeply complicated. During her high-profile legal battle with Johnny Depp, Musk's name popped up multiple times.
Just a couple of days ago, it was stated that the Tesla billionaire is being brought back into Depp's $50 million libel action against his ex-wife Amber Heard. But what some of you may be asking is, why? Well, the well-loved Pirates of the Caribbean actor, who had previously accused Musk of having an affair with Amber Heard during their short-lasting marriage, is bringing him back into the drama yet again.
Some speculated he bankrolled parts of her legal defense. Others whispered that he knew sensitive material tied to her personal life, material that could be leveraged, if not by him, then by those in his orbit. And now, with the federal spotlight turned on Diddy and the dark underbelly of celebrity power structures, this once celebrated romance is beginning to resemble something far more strategic, even dangerous. In Walter Isaacson's biography of Elon Musk, we get rare access to how the billionaire himself viewed the relationship. In his own words, it was brutal. A single phrase that hints at something far more emotionally destructive than either party let on during the affair's media heyday. Musk had first become fascinated with Amber after seeing her in the 2013 action film Machete Kills. But it wasn't until 2016, after she filed for divorce from Johnny Depp, that their relationship officially began. At first, it seemed like a classic rebound romance, intense and filled with dramatic gestures. Musk flew across the world to visit Amber on the Aquaman set in Australia. She, in turn, surprised him on his birthday by flying to the Tesla factory in California. On paper, it was a relationship of equals, Hollywood royalty and Silicon Valley kingpin. But beneath the surface, it was emotionally volatile and some say deeply transactional. They connected over their shared passion for science fiction, technology, and what Heard referred to as the geekier side of life. She even went so far as to spend 2 months designing a full-body costume to roleplay as Mercy from Overwatch, Musk's favorite video game character. That kind of dedication, blending fantasy, power, and obsession, speaks volumes about the psychological dynamics of their bond. This wasn't just a romance, it was a myth being co-written in real time. But those closest to Musk were alarmed. His brother, Kimball Musk, told Isaacson that Amber was toxic and a nightmare, and that Elon had a pattern of falling for women who had, in his words, a very dark side. It's a chilling statement, especially now, when that dark side could be less about emotional instability and more about the shadowy world of elite parties, trafficking allegations, and mutual secrets. Musk, for his part, admitted, "I am often a fool, but especially for love." That's a poetic way to put it. But in the current climate, one has to wonder whether that foolishness came with consequences or complicity. After their split in 2017, Musk reportedly went through 18 months of unrelenting insanity. That phrase might sound like melodrama, unless you've been following the timelines. Because those 18 months overlap with some of the wildest speculation about the secretive world of celebrity sex parties, NDAs, and blackmail. If Musk was spiraling during that time, what was happening behind closed doors? Heard, for her part, still speaks kindly of Elon. In the Isaacson biography, she said, "I love him very much," and cryptically added, "Elon loves fire, and sometimes it burns him." That phrase has become hauntingly prophetic, because if Musk is, even indirectly, tied to what Homeland Security is uncovering in the Diddy case, that fire could burn everything down. Let's be clear. There is no public evidence at this time that Musk or Heard participated in any illegal acts related to Diddy. But the mere fact that their relationship unfolded during the precise period that Diddy's alleged sex trafficking operation was at its peak has raised alarm bells among investigators. Musk's immense wealth and influence may have insulated them both, but with the feds now subpoenaing records, encrypted messages, and private flight logs, no one's past is out of reach. The once fairy tale romance between a tech mogul and a Hollywood starlet now reads like a cautionary tale of obsession, power, and proximity to something far more sinister than either could have imagined. And in that context, Heard's sudden decision to vanish from Hollywood and take refuge in Spain isn't just personal. It might be tactical.
Amber Heard update, Johnny fans. Where has Miss Heard been hiding? We knew she was in Israel for a while, but it appears she's now in Spain. TMZ, that's right, the same TMZ, which was warned by Miss Heard about her divorce application and who Morgan Tremaine gave such wonderful testimony for, has reported that she's in Spain. Photos from that article show her being carefree, playing with her daughter and hanging out with her friends. Not a care in the world about the $8.3 million bill that she owed. It seems her strategy is simply to ghost the world.
Because when billionaires play with fire, the kind of fire that burns careers, reputations, and entire legacies, the people closest to them rarely walk away unscathed. So now, with Diddy's trial unraveling dark secrets about elite parties, hidden camera setups, coercive acts, and even the branding of party drugs with the Tesla logo, one can't help but notice the shadows connecting the players. Former Danity Kane member Aubrey O'Day suggested there are deeper links between Diddy's operation and Musk's social circle. And when Homeland Security agents testified about items seized from Diddy's Miami mansion, including ecstasy pills emblazoned with the Tesla logo, eyebrows were raised not just for what they found, but for what it implied. It's not just about the parties or the drugs, it's about who was there, who saw, who knew, and who might be next in line to be exposed. Amber Heard, once at the center of one of the most public court cases in celebrity history, has been living a quiet life since the Depp trial ended. After being dragged through the media meat grinder, she left California, sold her Yucca Valley home, and retreated to Spain under the alias Martha Jane Cannery, the real name of gunslinger Calamity Jane. In Madrid, she's been spotted jogging, spending time with her daughter, and, most recently, announcing the birth of twins Ocean and Agnes. On the surface, it looks like a fresh start. But behind the idyllic scenes of park strolls and Mother's Day posts, a new narrative is emerging. Amber Heard might be in hiding, not just from public opinion, but from something much darker. Sources close to Heard say she left the US because there was too much chaos. That phrase, once thought to refer to her legal battle with Depp, now takes on a new meaning in the context of the Diddy investigation. Multiple women, multiple lawsuits, and multiple investigations are converging on a single axis of power, privilege, and abuse. And Elon Musk sits uncomfortably close to the center. With Heard's previous ties to both Musk and psychologist Don Hughes, who is now helping to prosecute Diddy, some believe Amber may be doing everything she can to distance herself from a scandal that could come crashing into her life at any moment. Let's be clear, Amber Heard is not accused of any crimes, but her proximity to key players in this unfolding saga and her sudden silence after the bombshell testimonies has raised more than a few eyebrows. Was she present at any of Diddy's infamous freak-offs? Was she invited to any of the secret parties described in lurid detail by former assistants and party planners? Did she know about the trafficking network that prosecutors are now trying to lay bare in open court? These are not just tabloid questions. These are legal and ethical ones. Consider this. Diddy's former assistant, George Kaplan, described scenes that feel straight out of a psychological thriller. Hotel rooms filled with baby oil, Astroglide, Gatorade bottles, and a constant stream of women. He spoke about being tasked with cleaning up these scenes to protect Diddy's image. He even testified about medicine kits filled with ketamine and Wellbutrin, and how these rooms were prepped in advance like stage sets. What kind of person needs a team to sterilize their hotel suites before and after encounters? And more importantly, who else was there? Then there's the eerie presence of firearms with scratched-off serial numbers, an AR-15 component displayed in court like a macabre trophy. Prosecutors displayed photographs of skull and crossbones etched onto illegal weapons, and even a pouch containing ecstasy pills with Tesla's logo. That wasn't a coincidence. That was a statement. So what does this have to do with Amber Heard? Everything, perhaps. Because as Elon Musk's name continues to float around the edges of this legal firestorm, the people once closest to him are beginning to look a lot more interesting to federal investigators. Musk, after all, didn't just know Diddy. He accepted money from him. He texted him. He considered him a friend. Now, if it turns out that Diddy's crimes were part of a broader network, one that might have involved trafficking victims, secret filming, or even blackmail, then investigators will be looking for witnesses, for patterns, for associates. Amber Heard might be a perfect person of interest, not because she did anything wrong, but because she might know something. And that alone could make her dangerous to the wrong people. And despite announcing plans to return to acting, her IMDb page remains quiet. In an age where every celebrity clings to relevance, Amber seems to be doing the opposite, pulling the curtain down, shielding her children, and living under a name most wouldn't recognize. But can you really outrun the storm? Not when the court is hearing from Homeland Security agents about trafficking networks, not when former industry insiders are starting to talk, and not when you've got Elon Musk's name being dragged through the shadows of one of the most disturbing celebrity trials in recent memory. As more witnesses take the stand, we may hear about tech billionaires, influencers, and Hollywood elites who attended Diddy's parties. We may hear about secret tapes, encrypted group chats, and NDAs used like weapons. And if Amber Heard appears in any of them, even tangentially, she may find herself facing questions she thought she left behind in California. This trial isn't just about Diddy anymore. It's about the machine that protected him. It's about the people who stayed silent, and it's about who might be next. If Amber Heard was simply looking for peace, she might have picked the wrong moment to disappear. Because in the aftermath of the Diddy raids, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security is no longer just interested in the music industry. They're tracing connections, money trails, guest lists. And in the digital age, it's nearly impossible to bury your past, especially when the people you were once romantically linked to are now at the epicenter of a criminal investigation. Federal agents have already confirmed that Diddy's inner circle was tight but expansive, meaning his operations relied on loyalty but spanned industries: music, fashion, tech, and even politics. Reports have revealed that not only were many of his infamous parties attended by A-list celebrities, but also tech entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, and media executives.
I feel like a lot of people don't realize just how many A-list celebrities used to attend Diddy's parties in the late 1990s and the early 2000s. And no, I am not saying that all of these people were aware of what Diddy allegedly did, but I also know that there are a lot of Hollywood inner circles who know things that the public don't. Now, before I show you some of the pictures from his parties and some of the celebrities who were in attendance, I want to reiterate, I do not think that all of these celebrities were aware of who Diddy really was. However, I do think it is important to see these photos in light of all of the recent news. This is a photo from the year 2000 at one of Diddy's parties. That is J-Lo with him.
The very people who shape narratives and suppress them. Elon Musk, a man known for inserting himself into every cultural conversation, now finds his silence oddly conspicuous. During his relationship with Amber Heard, Musk was reportedly generous to a fault. Lavish trips, high-security escorts, and anonymous donations to the ACLU made headlines. But those donations now feel less like gestures of good faith and more like chess pieces in a much larger game. What else might he have helped cover? Was Heard protected? And if so, from what? Okay, now, let's talk more about Amber Heard. We all know that Amber continues to stay out of reach. Even her social media posts are meticulously curated, infrequent, vague, and devoid of geographic indicators. It's as if she's broadcasting a persona, rather than a real-time life. The name she's reportedly using abroad, Martha Jane Canary, is itself symbolic. Canary, better known as Calamity Jane, was a frontierswoman who lived outside the norms of society and disappeared from the historical record for long stretches. Heard's adoption of that alias is either poetic irony or a subtle admission that she's trying to rewrite her own story. And maybe she has reason to. During the Johnny Depp trial, many things came to light, including Heard's private correspondences, photographs, and testimonies involving her time with Elon Musk. But what didn't make it into the headlines were Musk's own activities. It's been speculated that Musk refused to testify, despite being subpoenaed, and avoided legal entanglements by remaining outside jurisdiction during critical phases of the trial. If he knew what Diddy was doing, or worse, participated in any way, the consequences would be catastrophic. Amber Heard's silence might be strategic. If she talks, she could incriminate others, or herself. If she stays quiet, she avoids scrutiny, but not forever. Let's step back and ask, what do we know for sure? We know that Diddy is facing serious federal charges: sex trafficking, criminal conspiracy, unlawful possession of firearms. We know that his homes were raided by Homeland Security and that drugs, money, and surveillance equipment were confiscated. We know that his ex-girlfriend Cassie has testified about years of abuse and forced sexual acts, and we know that other celebrities, including Usher, Young Miami, and Justin Bieber, have been named either in lawsuits or in party records. The ring of silence is cracking. We also know that Elon Musk and Diddy had a business relationship, documented and acknowledged, that their social circles overlapped, and that Musk had a long and complicated relationship with Amber Heard during this same period. Whether Musk's involvement was naive, indirect, or something more sinister remains to be seen. But federal investigators aren't in the business of speculation. They're in the business of connections, and the dots are starting to align. Amber Heard's move to Spain, once framed as an act of self-care or post-trial rehabilitation, now looks more like a calculated escape. European jurisdictions make extradition difficult, especially for individuals not officially charged with a crime. If she fears being dragged into testimony, or worse, retaliation, staying abroad could be her only form of protection. And it's not just about fear of the law, it's fear of exposure. Let's consider one of the most damning allegations to emerge from the Diddy case so far: the existence of hidden surveillance. Multiple sources have confirmed that Diddy used secret cameras during his parties, allegedly recording guests without their consent. These recordings, if authenticated, could expose powerful people doing illegal or deeply compromising things. According to insider leaks, there are terabytes of footage currently in government hands, and analysts are working around the clock to verify identities and timestamps. If Amber Heard appears in even a fraction of that material, she becomes a key witness, or a target. But who else could be in those videos? And if these tapes are used to blackmail celebrities and tech moguls, what does that say about the power structures behind the scenes? The entertainment world is already bracing for a wave of fallout. Hollywood agencies are scrubbing client lists, publicists are issuing preemptive denials, studios are delaying releases or quietly dropping projects involving anyone remotely tied to the Diddy case.
But to answer your question as far as crimes, I won't comment on that. But as far as whether there will be additional individuals, people that we all know joined in some of these suits, there's no doubt that will be the case. There's no doubt that some of these events and these assaults occurred at particular people's homes, some venues, some hotels, some clubs. We know that there were people in the room when some of these things occurred. It's my view that if you participated in it, if you benefited from it, if you encouraged it, if you watched it go on and were somehow involved, whether it be even peripherally involved, and did not try to stop it, especially with regard to minors.
And amidst it all, Amber Heard remains conspicuously absent from the frenzy, neither apologizing nor denying, just gone. This isn't just a story of celebrity downfall. It's a story about systems that protect the powerful, that silence the victims, that let billionaires and record executives operate like kings in a world without laws. What Homeland Security is uncovering now might be the modern-day equivalent of the Epstein files, except this time, the network stretches from hip-hop to Silicon Valley to Hollywood. Amber Heard might not be central to that web, but she's somewhere on its edge. And the deeper investigators dig, the more they'll be looking at everyone who ever stepped foot inside those mansions, those hotel rooms, those parties. That includes Amber. That includes Elon. And possibly it includes a whole lot more names the public has yet to hear. In this new era of accountability, no one is untouchable. Not even the richest man in the world. Not even the actress who tried to disappear. Because the truth, once uncovered, has a funny way of catching up, no matter how far you run or how many aliases you take on. So what happens next? The Diddy trial is still unfolding, but more witnesses are expected to come forward. Subpoenas are reportedly being prepared for several Hollywood agents, former assistants, and party organizers. Elon Musk's name has not yet been officially listed, but his business and social ties are likely to be examined under a microscope. And Amber Heard? She may find herself receiving a knock on the door in Madrid, not from paparazzi, but from federal investigators. This isn't a conspiracy. This is reality. And it's happening in real time. As the curtains are pulled back on one of the most elite and secretive social circles in America, the world is beginning to see what really lies beneath the glamour. And it's uglier than anyone imagined. Amber Heard may have once been framed as a victim, then a villain, and now maybe something else entirely. A witness to a machine that is finally being dismantled piece by piece. Only time will tell what role she played, and whether her silence was survival or complicity. But now, everyone is watching, as Amber is going to be another key figure in this Diddy mess. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments and make sure to stick around for the most recent updates.